When discussing anti-Semitism in the contemporary far left, we must first acquaint ourselves with an important term, anti-Zionism. Used today to describe various religious, moral, and political points of view, both past and current, anti-Zionism has taken on different meanings and definitions, which consequently makes it complicated to pinpoint and define. Following the establishment of the State of Israel in 1948 and the political tensions that arose during the Cold War, anti-Zionism has become increasingly converged with anti-Semitism in the West, particularly in the far left. Let's now turn to hear more about the history of anti-Zionism, its changing nature, and how it relates to contemporary anti-Semitism.
Before 48, the objection to Zionism came naturally from the Arab population in Palestine, but it was also a very prominent trend among Jews. Zionism was not the only movement that wanted to change the future of the Jews in Europe.
There was opposition from religious anti-Zionists who opposed it on theological grounds, from Marxist anti-Zionists who argued that Jews should seek their emancipation and their liberation along with the whole of humanity, from assimilationists who in the late 19th century and early 20th century said, hang on, Jews in Europe have achieved a whole range of civil and political rights by finally convincing people that we are not a separate nation. And now we're telling them we are. It's going to ruin everything. Well, of course, things change, political conditions change. The Shoah happened and Israel was created. And those two events revolutionized Jewish politics. So now, a belief in the essential existence of Israel, that Israel is the Jewish homeland, is the view of the widespread majority of Jewish people, certainly in Britain. And anti-Zionism in Jewish politics is a very small fringe. But on the left, on the broader left, it's much wider.
Most people, in fact, who subscribe to what they call anti-Zionism know almost nothing about Zionism or Zionisms in the plural. They're not acquainted with the history of Zionism. Anti-Zionism becomes a camouflage term for hostility to the State of Israel and often to the Jewish people as such. It goes well beyond what one might call legitimate differences with particular Israeli policies or particular Israeli actions. Those things need not, in fact, be anti-Semitic whatsoever. But when the existence of the state itself, Israel among all the world states, is brought into question, when the future of Israel is denied, when Israel is compared to apartheid South Africa and Nazi Germany, we've crossed the line into another realm altogether. Anti-Zionism is not a good term for it. I'm not sure that anti-Israelism, which is sometimes used, is a good term either. What I see is extreme, fervent, passionately driven hostility to the existence of a Jewish nation state.
It's an anti-Zionism that is based on conspiracy theory, that is allied to openly anti-Semitic, violently anti-Semitic movements in the Middle East. And that draws on more anti-Semitic forms of anti-Zionism that really grew out of the Soviet Union and Soviet propaganda in the 1960s and 1970s. And unfortunately, this is the kind of anti-Zionism that is more prevalent now in that political space.
We can see then that the main type of anti-Zionism that emerges from the far left today diverges radically from the rational or legitimate criticism of Israeli policy, as well as from an ideological disagreement with the tenets of the Zionist movement. It is important to point out that this form of anti-Zionism is not exclusive to the far left. It can also be found in various expressions in all spheres from which anti-Semitism emerges today, including the far right.